Welcome to Automation, an Alexio short course. In this course, we will look at one of the more complex areas of the Alexio database, and because of that, it's in an area that a lot of people do not take advantage of. And I think that one of the reasons that happens is that at first pass, it looks like there's too much to tackle. So we're going to talk about some strategies of that. We're looking at the automation window on screen right now. The nature of this window is broken into two sections. You've got your report section on the left, your automated email section on the right. With the reports area, what we're looking at is simply whatever is checked will run when you click Process Reports and Emails. When I say run, I do not mean to screen. I mean it will print that to your default printer. The reports area can have additional items added to it. What I'm looking at on screen is probably what you would see if you haven't made any adjustments to the automation area since you installed your Alexio database. We suggest, meaning Alexio, when the developers created this section, they created some typical reports that might be useful to run on a regular basis. You do not have to use those. You can create your own. You can see the details on what exactly, if we are indicating, which we are, that there is a report called birthdays that you can engage. What is that? What report is that? You can find the details by clicking here. And the window that pops up will show you that this is report R1251, and you have some additional filtering options. My recommendation for being strategic in deploying the automation functions of the Alexio database is to consider the idea of removing some of these. Now, strategically, you can just leave them unchecked and it's as good as deleting them, but you can also choose to delete them. Now, here's what it would look like. I'm going to change databases. This particular database has had all the reports removed. It's a blank slate. You can start here and you could add back in reports that you want to run. So for example, if you decide, we seem like we are running the contribution detail report on a regular basis, you could decide to place that as an automated report. You would go to the common tasks area. You would select add new report. You would navigate through either system reports, custom searches, or FCRs. Contribution detail is an FCR report. You would select it, and now that contribution detail report is something that will run on a regular basis. You may need to adjust filtering. Okay, that's the basics of how the automated reports area works. The automated email side of the automation screen, again, lists the default emails that would have been set up with your Alexio database. This is a little bit different. You don't have the power to delete them from here, nor is it really a good idea. What you can do, however, is make them inactive. This does not change the same statement we made over here, which is if they're deselected, then they're not going to run. They, in a sense, are deactivated. However, you'll notice some behavior with the system. If I choose to deactivate them and I navigate away from this screen, in some cases, depending on which one it is, it will show up as checked again. There's a routine running in the background. That, again, adds to the layers of complexity, and I think one of the reasons that people stay away from automation. So my suggestion is to navigate to the administration area, and specifically to automated emails. Give a careful review of what each email does. Adjust what it says if indeed you determine based on what it does, you do want it. You would want to adjust maybe the wording because it's generic wording from Alexio. But even more importantly, if you determine that it is an email you don't want to ever run, or at least right now, you want to deactivate it. The result of navigating through here and deselecting active is a database that has an automation area that would look something more like this. In this database, I have gone into administration, to the automated emails, and I have deactivated everything except for prayer list. If you would like to add in an email, there's two ways to do that. You can return to your administration area. So if I return to administration in this database that has everything deactivated except for one, and I go to automated emails, and I locate a particular report that I'm ready to start running on a particular email that I'm ready to start running, perhaps birthdays. I can come here, I can mark it as active. I'll save it even though it's not necessary. We've talked about in previous courses, Alexio's database is kind of an auto-save all the time. Now I have that one. You can also get to that list of active and inactive and being able to make those choices and edit the automated emails by going to the Common Tasks menu and selecting Add Automated Email. It's simply going to take you back into the administration area to the automated email section, and you can begin working with the emails that you might choose to use. Okay, let's discuss what these emails look like. Once you've determined that there is an email that you want to send in an automated fashion, the body of the email list name, the description, subject, these are all pretty straightforward. You're certainly going to want to edit these because they're generic when they come out of the box from Alexio. A couple of things down at the bottom, you can attach both files and reports. So reports would be those that are inside the database. So for example, if you wanted to attach perhaps a giving report and you were going to send that to your elders, something of that nature. Files would, of course, be something not from the Alexio database. Both of those things can be attached. You engage those options at the bottom. The area that's a little bit different, of course, than just typing an email on your local email program would be over on the right-hand side, where you are selecting who indeed will this email go to. And this is where it becomes more challenging and why I think some people back off from the automation section, because it's a fear that the system is going to be sending emails and it might send to someone that we don't want it to go to. The key is knowledge, and if you attack these things and look at it and make it what you want it to be, there's your key for success. Let's take this one as an example. This particular email is going to send to first-time attenders as of last Sunday. The body of the text, if you read it, indicates that that is being sent. This isn't an email list of first-time attenders. This is an email to people who have a status of attended one time this past weekend, or as of this past weekend. So the custom search, the send to, in this case, is identified as a custom search, meaning the system will go out and look for status equal to attended one time, and again, the definer of that would be last Sunday as well. That is a standard custom search in the system. You can filter this down. So in this case, it is not just that, but it's also filtering by campus. The frequency is just simply saying this is an email we want to send out on a particular frequency. This can be changed. So I don't recommend that you change this. So this is a standard Alexio email. I would leave it as is. But if you want to create a new one, you can certainly do that. And then let's look at this drop-down list. Let's assume this was actually a new one. There are other send to options. Now, if you have been following along with our training courses, most of these things should look familiar. So for instance, if you take all the way down at the bottom, if we send to something classified as status, that would be our beginning criteria, and then we would be given the opportunity to narrow that down. So for instance, if we wanted the distribution list to be all statuses equal to member, that could be my distribution list. The simplest option would be to select email addresses manually typed. So for example, again, if you were going to send something to your group of elders as an example, or any governing group, anybody who has some oversight in your church, rather than even messing with a custom search, you could just type in those people's email address. So the challenge here is both first deciding, do we want the email to be automated in the first place? And then what is the send to criteria? I've returned to my database with a simplified automated processes list. Again, just as a reminder, all I've done here is deactivated most of the emails and removed most of the reports, and I just have the ones that I want. A quick comment about dates. There's two dates that are appearing on the automation window. One is the last sent date. That's really not a controllable field. That just simply is going to tell you this is the last time that particular report ran. The other one that's up here, the select date to process option, relates to things that have a date associated with them. So if I select, and in most cases you're simply going to be selecting, in my case this is yesterday, you're going to be selecting a date and it's going to use that as its pivot point for instance, birthdays this month. If I were to change this to some date far in the past, it would look at birthdays related to that process date. Again, just it's a place where there could be potential confusion. There's really no need for it to be. Rare would be the case that you would want to go back and select some older date here. That's about it for automation. It is a large topic. It takes a fair amount of experimentation to determine what is most valuable for your church. Thanks for watching this Alexio short course.